Hello everyone, my name is Jeremiah. I'm the pony guy. So 5 years ago, you guys followed my channel. I did my first time custom themed PC build, which was based on My Little Pony, Princess Luna. And I was going to try to do these on a more often basis, but you know, life got to me. But now it's time to move on, and I'm ready to do my next build, and hopefully I'll be able to do these a little more often. The theme of this build, as you can tell, is going to be Seaquestria from the My Little Pony movie. So we've got a lot of different design elements. It's been just weeks in the planning, visits to aquarium stores, auto orders on Amazon, etc. to get everything I would want to try to incorporate into this build. Now, obviously I probably will not use every design element I have seen here, but the idea is try to create this into a custom build. Now to kind of go over what I've chosen for the PC parts, we're going with an Intel build based with a micro ITX board from MSI. We've got a 1000 watt power supply from Superflower, of course regular air cooler, and then of course my favorite type of RAM, which I think is going to go great with the build, is going to be the G-Skill Tridents, Corsair NVE drives. And of course I have my blue LED lighting kit, which should illuminate a lot of the design elements here. The coral that I've gotten is actually designed for a glow fish tank, which I actually have a glow aquarium tank. And so I did some experimentation, and the effects between the blue LED should create the effect that I'm looking for in creating Seaquestria. So hopefully this will be probably a multi-week process. I'm going to be filming pieces and pieces and kind of just posting it as I go along, and then at the very end I have a complete build video. Last thing I want to mention is I've had people ask me before in public and online. They've asked, you know, is this a tutorial on how to build a PC? No, this is not a tutorial for that. But I will leave videos or some links in below from Linus Tech tips, which is one of the YouTuber I follow. He specializes in technology and builds, etc. And he has a lot of great tutorial videos on how for first-time PC builders. So I will leave those in the links below. But hopefully, in a couple weeks, I'll have something really creative. I mean, I have it all in my mind, what I want to create. But you know, as you go along through the weeks that you put these together, things change. You change your ideas. You want to go different directions. Things don't work out. But hopefully, we'll see what happens. So, without further ado, let's talk about it. Primary build's complete. I booted it up, posters, everything's good to go. My hat's off to Thermatec for creating a really awesome case. I mean, there's between the side panels, glass panels popping off and snapping back on with ease. Great wire management built into this case, so my hat's off to Thermatec. This is a great case you've designed. Obviously, this is the front, you can see, and of course, fast design. Try to do all my own wire management, make it as clean as possible. Like I said, I've already posted it, comes right up. So next is the publication. so as you can see, the build's come along quite well. Those not there yet. I've actually got to go order more design elements that'll be here next week just to kind of finalize this build. But then I realized that there wasn't enough lighting with the ARGB. When this build is all done, the lights will be blue and white effects. Depending, I mean, once I get the OS installed and the ARGB software installed and set up, we'll play around with the effect and create the best lighting effect I want. Mostly supposed to be blue because a lot of the stuff is luminescence. But I realized that I needed more lighting. So I went and got from Amazon two Thermatake 140 millimeter ARGB fans to replace the two fans at the top of the case. Added on to the ARGB splitter, so they'll have downward facing lights to kind of finish off, finalize this build. So I'm about to get those installed. So we are coming to the final completion of this build. And the final design element I wanted to put in there was the jellyfish chandelier, that's what my daughter called it. And this was probably the hardest creation. I was going to try to think of how could I do this? What could I get and rebuild or craft to replicate the jellyfish chandelier? And so I actually went online, lots of searching, a lot of Amazon, Googling, and came across some outdoor solar lighting that had jellyfish tops on it. It's a multicolored LED, runs on 1.2 volt up to 3 volts. And I realized, well, hey, that'll create the element I'm looking for, and I can run it into the 3 volt SATA header, and that'll create what I'm looking for. So let's go ahead and get started on that. After I got the Mystic lights installed, configured, this is the blue lighting that I wanted to go with. As you can see in the video showing that the luminescence created from the effects is what we're going for. And when the room is completely dark, obviously it really shines. Give you an idea. We go into a complete dark room, and as you can see, the luminescence is what we're looking for. This is the Seaquestria build, all complete. Hopefully, maybe a month or two, I'll be able to work on my next one. Leave comments and suggestions of the next My Little Pony theme build you'd like to see. I also like to hear feedback, etc., good or bad. Hope you enjoy the video. This is the Pony Guy, signing off.